there's no book that I have ever seen written like yours. It is fantastic, and that's the next thing I'm going to do is buy the book. One I've noticed, I was able to lose 130 pounds in about 6 months. And I noticed in your book you have the maintenance section, and I fell victim to that. I had some kind of a phobia that, oh, I got to make sure I keep my nutrient base up, and I gained 130 pounds back. Secondly, this is part of my question. I just lost an aunt, and she was 60 pounds. But the most amazing thing to me, she used to eat plant-based, and she had in her neck, she had a mechanism where she could not swallow, and the food would go down her trachea. What was most amazing to me was the little food that she ate. She lasted well over a year. It surprised me how little food we can eat. She had no amyloid plaque in her brain. She was sharp as a tack. But then it got to the point where she couldn't walk, and then she died at 60 pounds. So basically, my question is, we really don't need a lot of food to keep us in survival mode. And my phobia was, I'm going to get sick from malnutrition. Have you seen this in your practice? Thank you very much for taking my question.
Thank you, Thomas, for asking, and I'm sorry for your loss. And that is a lot of wisdom there. And that is my life, is dealing with nutrient deficiency fear. That is everything I was taught. Was like, we live in a paradigm of avoiding nutrition deficiency. That's what I'm taught in grad school. I sat in on my ex-husband's medical school class on nutrition. And it was goiter, iodine deficiency, rickets, D deficiency. Okay, let's move on to the next subject. That was all nutrition is. And in grad school, it's like, how do you avoid this, this, and this? That's why I make those charts of where to get these nutrients. And that's why I was scared away from it, because everyone talks about that, about this fear of deficiency. But look at what's happening. We are not mostly having deficiency in this world. People are dying every day from cardiovascular disease, from type 2 diabetes. These are food-borne illnesses. This is from overconsumption, not underconsumption. I don't see deficiencies very often. Yes, B12, because that's a problem with a vegan diet. Yes, D, because some people are, we have all these things about D, and I talk about all of those extensively. I don't need to go there now. You're not, do your due diligence. You get your blood work drawn. You keep, that's like, again, data, collect data. If your scale is maintaining, you're not in a deficit of calorie, right? And if your scale is going up, then you're eating too much. And if the scale is going down, then you're eating enough to go into that. But the micronutrients are something you need to be mindful of. That's why I recommend taking a multivitamin. Maybe that will bring you some peace, Thomas. It brings me peace. And I have my clients do it because I don't want anyone to be deficient. But the peace of mind of just having a covering your micronutrient bases, and then checking everything else. And then the other thing I have people look at is, how do you feel? How do you feel when how are your workouts? How is your energy? Are you getting sick more often? These are things to indicate. These are indicators of not doing well, right? And then you will know. And so just collect data, go to the doctor. Don't be afraid of getting lab work drawn like every year, unless there's something more important that you need to be more frequent about. But gather data and take a multivitamin, and know that there's way more obsession about nutrient deficiency than need be. And if you're mindful about it and you're eating whole plants and you're eating like this, you're focusing on those 6 daily threes and substantiating with whole grains and all the other stuff, you're not going to have a problem. We just don't see that very frequently. It's very, very rare. If you're getting enough calorie to keep your weight, if you're in maintenance mode, then you're getting enough, and just take the multi to cover those other nutrients. But it's a very good question. And everyone's concerned about it. You're not alone. I could tell you that.
Okay, thank you, Julieanna, for that. Next, we have Mary. Mary, what's your question?
Hi, thank you so much. You are beautiful. I have 3 questions. One is that I've had people tell me that I should not eat oats, soy, or garbanzo beans, and I think it's because of glyphosate. Even if I get organic, they're saying there's no way to get it that's healthy. So that, again, would have to do with eating hummus. My second question is, when you listed the 6 categories, you did not include grains, and I love oats. And is that because you were listing it for weight loss, and maybe you can have the grains after? And then the last one is, how can we influence the medical field to start teaching nutrition more to definitely doctors? No, sounds like they are not trained very much. And I don't know about becoming a nutritionist. I would think that plant-based would be taught there, but I don't know. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you for your compliments and thank you for your great questions. I will answer the first two kind of together. Well, no, I'll go first. There's a lot, we live in a world of toxicity, right? We've got like toxins in our air, in our water, in our food, there's arsenic in our rice, and there's pollutants in our everything. There's stuff everywhere, glyphosate, whatever, all the stuff, all the things. It's a bucket. I put it in that bucket category. Like how much, what are you filling your bucket with? There's all this stuff, and stuff is going to have to spill over. So you do your best, right? And the way I do that, and personally, and what I recommend to my clients is I buy from different sources. Like I don't always buy the same brand. I don't always buy from the same store. I just kind of mix it up a little bit, but I don't avoid certain foods, especially those foods that are super healthy, oats and chickpeas. Oh my gosh, we're not going to give up hummus for that. And yeah, you could try to get organic. Anyway, I just think it's something you don't need to worry about. Most people are sick from eating animal products and processed foods. That's where I see the people that come to me with high blood pressure, high cholesterol, type 2 diabetes, all the list of the common things are dealing with they're eating a standard Western diet. If you're eating a whole food plant-based diet and you're prioritizing the 6 daily threes and you're taking a multivitamin, you're doing everything you can. And then mix it up a little bit. So like maybe some days you have chickpeas, and some days you have kidney beans, and some days you have black beans. You just mix it up. The variety will give you a little bit more, because remember, with toxicity, the dose makes the poison. That's really important thing to remember. And if you get overwhelmed with this and you're aiming for perfection, how are you ever going to have peace in this way of eating, or in any way of eating? So I would say, I don't recommend any of that, like avoiding those foods for that purpose. I just say have some variety, and know that if you're avoiding concentrated toxins like in animal products, and avoiding things like refined sugars and all those things that we know, we have an abundance of literature, are harmful, and you're eating whole plants, you're really doing way better than most of the world in terms of your reduction of risk for chronic disease. The second question, whole grains, thank you for pointing that out. And everyone asked me that. I have a video. You guys, if you want my video on the naturally lean people, I'm naturally lean habits of naturally lean people. If you want my video on why whole grains is not part of the 6 daily threes, either email me or look for me I'm on YouTube, Instagram, all of YouTube. You could easily search for it. You could just put my name in and put in naturally lean, or put in whole grains, because I answer this question in depth. But briefly speaking, there is nothing not fabulous about whole grains. In fact, there's a huge amount of literature that they are healthy, disease preventing, health promoting, nutritious, all that. The reason they're not in the 6 daily threes is because there is nothing unique in whole grains that you can't get from those other categories. So prioritize those 6 daily threes, and then substantiate with whole grains, with more servings of those things. Basically, it's great for culinarily speaking, for satiety. Whole grains are fabulous. Some people have problems during the weight loss process with like certain whole grains. I know rice, for a lot of people, it's constipating, for instance. So mix it up and see. Again, you're going to be your own detective. You're going to get your PhD in your body losing weight. Many people do great with whole grains. There is nothing wrong with whole grains. I love whole grains. I eat them all the time. I recommend them. There's just nothing in there that you can't get from the other 6 daily threes. So that's why they're not part of that. So in terms of teaching doctors, when I first started doing this work 17 years ago, and I would go to these conferences and speak to like a small group of doctors. The last one I went to before COVID, there was like 1,200 doctors in the audience. It's happening. So many of my friends are physicians. I am in this world, and it's happening. It's growing like never before. It's slow. And like the doctor in Mexico that told my dad food doesn't matter. They're everywhere too, and they're still dominant, but it's changing, and the education is hopefully changing. There's a lot of people working on that. And I think it's a really exciting time. Things are changing.